What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we've got some maintenance to do, and I'm gonna update you guys on the TJ and what the deal is with that thing, because yeah, yeah, let's just get to that after. Right now, as you can see, I've already got the jack underneath the Gladiator here. We're gonna be rotating the tires and we're gonna be doing an oil change. So I've picked up all the supplies. Let's go. Let's start by taking the wheels off and rotating the tires, because as you guys can see, I'm not in the garage. I'm actually, well, I'm in the garage, just not my garage. I'm here at my brother's, and we're gonna be using all of my tools, which are still here from when I used to live here. And I cannot wait to be able to have all that stuff with me whenever I'm working on my Jeep. But honestly, sometimes at least you don't have to fight the elements. And today, there's a thunderstorm coming, so we gotta work quick. So let's stop talking and let's get to wrenching. Now that we got the wheels off, we can actually get in here and check the brakes, because being a full face wheel, you can't actually check your brakes without taking them off. So now that we're here, we can see there's plenty of meat left on the front. And let's take a quick look at the back here. Oh yeah, there's plenty of pad left in there. More than enough. And we will check the other side in a minute. But I did not switch them just yet. And you can see they're pretty fresh. Like, I think since I've gotten these, I have done about 7,000 kilometers. So not very much, but that's right around the time that I changed my oil last. So here we are again, and we're gonna change the oil and do the rotation just to keep them all fresh and keep them all wearing evenly, and hopefully they'll last a bit longer. Now, I do not put in my spare. Maybe I should, maybe I will on the next run, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really put the spare in just so these ones all wear more evenly, because then you're putting in a fresh one. And yeah, people say that it lasts you a lot longer. I probably wouldn't disagree, but to be honest, that's just how I do it. So we're gonna go front to back on both sides and call that a day. So I've already rotated them. I've switched them front to back. Now, because they weigh so much, I'll show you guys my trick on how I get them on. I'm sure there's easier ways, I'm sure there's worse ways, but if you guys have a better way, let me know. But this is how I save myself from breaking my back, and hopefully maybe it'll save some of you guys too. So what I do, I put a breaker bar underneath the tire, and then I basically lift one end up and put it on. And it's a lot easier if you position one of your studs right at the top, right at 12 o'clock. And something like that. Now, that was my first shot. It went on pretty easy. I'm not gonna say they're all gonna go on that easy, but these ones are a little bit trickier as well, because you can see they have multiple bolt patterns. So these are cut for multiple vehicles, and you gotta make sure you're putting on the right set or else it won't fit. And that's always fun. As you can see, I'm already breaking a sweat. So yeah, that's my trick. I'm gonna bang the other one in there, tighten this side, and we'll go check the brakes on the other side. Now, one thing that always amazes me is that you can fit 37s on the Gladiator with no lift, and when you're not gonna rub. So these are a full 37 by 12.5 by 17, and they are a Mickey Thompson Baja Boss AT. So they're not the mud terrains, they're the all-terrains. And personally, I like them. They work great in the snow, they work great on the road, they're quiet, they handle good. No complaints with those. And they don't rub anywhere. Like, you can see, there's no, like, I don't see, maybe, yeah, like that's just dirt. Like, I don't think we ever really rubbed anywhere. So That is amazing to me. And the brakes in the back are mint. There is lots of life left on those. Brakes in the front are great as well. Lots of life left on those. It's hard to see on camera, but there's lots of meat. Like there's the backing and there's the rest of the pad. There's only 20,000 on these, so I wasn't expecting to see much, but it's good to see that they're wearing like they should be. Everything else in here on the front is also looking mint. We don't have any rubbing anywhere. Like I'm telling you guys, I don't know how, but it doesn't. And the only thing I have in the front is the TerraFlex 1.5 inch spacer. So there is a 1.5 inch puck above the coil spring. There's no spacer for the actual shock. Everything is stock there. And yeah, it just works. So now I'm gonna just rotate these tires quick and we'll get to draining the oil. And it's nice that I got to do this before the oil because I had to drive here, so the vehicle got to cool down a little bit, and all the oil also kind of made its way back down into the pan, and hopefully we'll get all of the old oil out and replace it with the good new stuff, which I'll show you what I'm using in just a minute. Now, some people just gun it on and they trust it and they'll probably never have an issue in their life. But to be honest, I just feel better using a torque wrench. So I always torque my wheels and then I'll double check them after a couple, like day or two, after a couple driving sessions. But yeah, first thing you're gonna wanna do to torque your wheels though is lower them down onto the ground. Because like this, you're not gonna get very far. With the gun, you can take them off and get them back on, but you're not gonna know exactly what torque you're at. So that's why I use torque wrench. But for now, let's lower this thing down and let's tighten both these wheels. While tires are successfully rotated, I had to use this to space out the jack stand because I don't even have big enough jack stands. These are 3-ton, but I think I'm gonna have to get myself some 5-ton or 10-ton if we're gonna be doing much more work and if we're gonna be doing the lift. I haven't decided if I'm gonna be putting the lift on myself or if I'm going to be getting it done at a shop. There is a shop that's not too local, but it's about 2 hours away, that they work with a dealership. So you can buy the Jeep from the dealership lifted by them and retain your full warranty. So if I buy my lift through them and I have it done by them, then I retain my full warranty as long as I go to the dealership they work with, which is nice because not everybody will do that for you. So it's a little bit more peace of mind, and yeah. But for now, let's put this stuff away and let's see, maybe we can manage to figure it out for now and get stuff done that we need to get done without buying more stands. But if we need to buy more stands, then I guess we will. And let's get to draining the oil on this thing. Oh, and that reminds me, I actually have the original control arms here. So those are the front lowers, because when we did the spacer lift on the front, I bought the Mopar lift front lower control arms, which were like 50 bucks a piece, but they're like 5/8 of an inch longer, so they give you a better caster angle, especially when you're running bigger tires. And that little bit of a spacer, it definitely helps even everything out. And I have noticed it rides really well. Like, I don't have any kind of pulling to the left or to the right. It doesn't get squirrely on the highway. No complaints whatsoever. Thing drives like stock or better than stock. So yeah. Now, where did I put the drain pan? Because I don't usually work in here. So that's a good question. I used to leave it under there, but she's not there. So, hello. Perfect. Let's go. So I did the least interesting part, drain the oil. I also got the filter out, and these things are notorious for cracking and breaking. But to be honest with you guys, it's the same style that Mercedes has been using for a very long time. And I used to work on Mercedes when I was a mechanic, and it's not very hard. Like, these crack because this is plastic as well, but when you're going back in, just don't be an asshole about it. When you feel that it's tight, it's tight. I've never had an issue, knock on Jeep. But yeah, now we're gonna do something a little bit different. I've got a magnet here, and I've got our used oil. We're gonna run the magnet through there to see if we get any shavings or any kind of gunk or anything, because, well, she's a Chrysler, so you know, that's enough said there. But let's see. I'm hoping that we don't find anything, but you never know. It's kind of nice just to have peace of mind, I guess. But it does sound kind of not great down there. That's actually very, very clean. Like, maybe? I don't think there's anything on there, to be honest with you. I'm gonna keep running it through a little bit, but nice. And this might have something to do with using good oil and changing it frequently, because a lot of people who complain about cars that are unreliable are always cars that are like owned by people who don't know how to work on cars or treat cars, or just they don't give a shit. Like BMWs. You name me one BMW guy that buys a brand new BMW and works on that thing. Nobody. The used ones, yeah, because those guys can afford them, but like like even Jeeps. Most people don't work on their own Jeeps, and if you're not gonna do your own maintenance, well, it's gonna be your own fault later. But that's a very nice surprise, and I'm very happy with those results. So for now, I think we're just gonna dump this and call that a day. But we do have our oil over here. So this is the exact same stuff that's in the pan right now. And this is a 020, which is what that engine calls for. And we have a moly additive in here. So this is like a friction controller additive inside. So we're not doing any additives, we're not doing any kind of supplements or any shit like that. We're just gonna be doing 020 liquid moly, and yeah, so far she's been doing me well. A lot of people swear by this stuff. A lot of people who have race cars and high performance engines swear by using this stuff. So to be honest, if I have to spend 20-30 bucks more per oil change and it saves my engine, or it makes my engine last that much longer, a little bit longer, why not? So let's go for it. So this is what we'll be using today. I'll pour this stuff in, save you guys the most important part there, or the most interesting part, I should say. And yeah, I think we're gonna be wrapping it up on this. There's not too much more maintenance we have today. So when replacing the filter, make sure to always use a brand new O-ring, and always lube up your O-ring before you put it in, so you're not going in dry and you don't have any issues there. But we've got our filter on, and it does click in, so you can see she's on there. My tip would be thread it in by hand as far as you can get it. Then once you can't spin it anymore with your fingers, lightly, and I emphasize lightly, tighten it, and you'll feel when it bottoms out. There's like a very distinctive end to it. I don't know how else to say it, but you'll see it starts to seat itself in there, and right about here, that's it. You don't touch it any more than that. If you think you need to tighten it more, well, you're gonna have problems later. So make sure it's tight, but don't go nuts. And that's it. Now we fill the oil. And before I put it in, yes, this stuff is green. Now you saw it in the pan there. It does turn black, but it starts off green. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I've never really had a green oil before, but yeah, and it's like it's lime green, like stuff's pretty cool. But make sure you don't mix that up with your antifreeze, because the 020 is pretty thin. Almost looks like we're pouring like dish detergent in here, my buddy was just saying. But yeah, pretty much, like, that's same color. And like this stuff is like water, man. I guess that's what this engine likes. So look, now every time I change the oil in this is the same thing that happens. And if you guys have never changed the oil in one of yours, then don't be scared, because you'll go to check it after starting it and she was bone dry. Like there's not a drop in there, but there is. And it's because it takes about 45 minutes for the oil to get down there. As you can see, my bottle, I only have like that little bit in the bottom there. Everything else is in the motor. And when we go to check it, there's not a drop in there. So I know I put the right amount in, which was 4.7 liters or 5 quarts, but it's just, yeah, it takes a minute or 45 minutes, I've heard, for the oil to get from the top down to the bottom where you can actually read it, which is kind of weird. I've never had an engine like this in my life, but I guess if that's what it is, then that's what it is. But yeah, it's already been about 10 minutes and there's not a drop in the pan. I don't know. I'm no scientist, but I think it should be a little bit of oil down there by now. But yeah. Oh, there we go. We've got a little bit of oil showing up. You can see there's maybe a quarter on the stick. So we got to wait a little bit longer, but it's in there. All right, guys, I waited the 45 minutes or the 4 to 5 business days. And now you can see our oil level is right there. So we're pretty much where we want to be, almost perfect. And I'll show you guys one more time where we get it on the cross hatching, because it's a little bit easier to see that way. But there you go. You can see we're pretty much right in the halfway point. So I think we are good to go. And now that the maintenance is done on the Gladiator, well, for now, I already did the air filter and the cabin filter earlier, so those are done. I did those like a month ago. And now I think it's time to take the old TJ for a drive. And I'll give you an update, because it is still here, but it is still for sale. It's actually been for sale for almost 2 months now. And yeah, nobody's come to pick it up yet. It is gonna be continuing to be for sale because I do not have any plans to keep it. But you can see it's been sitting. So let's go take it for a drive, because it's not good for anything to sit this long. So let's go get the wheels moving and I'll give you a quick update on what my plans are with this thing. So since we've done the head gasket, I've driven this thing maybe like 3 times. And the last time that I went to go drive it, it had a little bit of an issue, which I'll tell you guys in a minute. We were planning to take this thing off-road and it decided it didn't want to go off-road anymore. And the caliper seized up on me. So we'll talk about that in a minute, but right now let's go for a spin and hopefully everything is good. But she's been running great, other than that one hiccup with the caliper. Like honestly, the thing's been running solid as hell because we've done everything on it so far. We tried to take it for a drive, we tried to take it off-roading, and we packed everything in here. We were on the road, we were on the highway, and the caliper seized up on me. And it's like, I've replaced that caliper already twice. I've replaced that caliper already. And it's not like we haven't done everything else in here to make it run right. Like there's a new water pump, there's a new head gasket, new valve cover gasket, new injectors, new spark plugs, new spark plug coil rail, new thermostat, new hoses, new radiator. Like if you can replace it, it's been replaced. The whole engine I replaced also last year. Like this, it's been done. We've replaced it all, so it should run good. And it does. But at the end of the day, I'm tired of putting all that money into it and things still break, because like I said, the caliper just seized on us for no reason. Like after all of that, after like, there's no end to it. There is no end. And it's like, no matter how fun this thing is and how much enjoyment that we can get out of it off-road, I have another Jeep that's more reliable and causes us less stress and less issues. So that's the main thing. Like we just don't want to deal with the problems anymore. We've lived that life.
It's a great Jeep. She holds up. It's just that the Big Bird and Mike,
we don't get along.
No. He gets much more along with his blue Jeep. Now this one here is very temperamental with him. Don't agree with each other.
I've tried. I treat it good. Like I tried, but
yeah. And then there were times that you just start punching her because she just do what you need her to do. And, you know, it's not how you treat Jeeps.
So I guess that's the end of it, right? Like I'm still selling it. I'm still willing to take it off-road. I'm still debating whether or not to take it because I know I'm asking for punishment. I just know it. Like, I know if I take it off-road, I'm just taking a chance of more repairs. And yeah, and it kills me because I want to go, and there isn't very many trails that I can take the Gladiator on right now without just totally scraping my belly on half the trail. So the trails that we can do, we have been doing. But the other trails that we can't do, we haven't been doing because we need to do a lift. Once we do a lift, it'll open up a whole more wide assortment of trails that we can go.
We can't do a lift until we sell the bird.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I could do a budget lift, but I don't want to do a budget lift. I want to build that thing right. So I'm waiting to build it right, and I just don't want to keep dumping money into Jeeps. So once I sell this, I'll be able to kind of use this money for that. And yeah, kind of mitigate the costs. But that's pretty much where we're at. Like, I'm not trying to keep dumping money into this. And yeah, as much as we enjoy it, it kills me that I can't go off-road right now, because if I do take this thing, how much is that going to cost me? Because it's been pretty expensive so far. And I don't know if I want to continue that road. So yeah, she's a good Jeep. She runs good right now. As you can see, it drives fine. Like, the caliper is fine. I've been driving it. I've driven it once since the caliper seized on us that day, and I don't know if it's because it was sitting for a bit or if it was mud or rust or what, but it's been good ever since. And you can see, like, I'm going on the brakes pretty hard, and
whenever
it's
we
good.
go off-roading, I think the Jeep knows, because whenever we just take her out because, you know, you need to maintain her, or if we're just running errands and we're deciding to hop in the big bird, she has no issue. She just goes. She dominates the streets. But the second we decide we're going off-roading, it's like she's like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna take it off one more time or a couple more times, but we'll see. It's hard. It's like you're stuck between a rock and a repairing place, because that's pretty much what it is. I want to go hit the rocks, but I don't want to go and repair it. So we'll see. We shall see. But like, it drives great. Honestly, it drives great. It's in the best condition it's ever been in since we've owned it, because it has brand new floors, brand new body mounts. All the body mounts are solid. Like, this thing is rock solid. It's probably the best it's been since it's been brand new.
Yeah, it's reborn.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm torn, because every time I go to drive it, it doesn't enjoy it, and it wants to kill itself. But like, you can see, the brakes work great, no squealing, no nothing. But then as soon as I tell it we're going off-road,
we're not.
The caliper seizes on me. And like, we're here, parked on an angle. E-brake works, we're in neutral. And the sound system also works a little too good. You can see, I'll put the... So, that's my tripod right there. I have to cut it. So yeah, definitely walks away. I don't know how much of that I can leave in there before I get copywritten, so it might have been on mute for a little bit, but yeah, that thing definitely pushes some air. So let's go. But like, yeah, she's been doing good. And if nobody's buying this thing, and I'm still paying insurance on it every month, and it's in the best condition it's ever been in, I might just start using it some more, because we have it, right? So why not? And like, we've been using it all day today. We're here at the grocery store. We already went to the liquor store. We got ourselves some liquor. We've got ourselves some food. And yeah, but it's just the fact that like, everything is becoming crazy expensive these days. And I know that you guys have probably seen 1,000,001 videos on groceries, but look at this. So this, what you're seeing here, shampoo, garbage bags, 2 of these garbage guys, Like, not much. This is $70. And yes, our milk comes in bags. And if you grow up with something and nobody tells you any different, you're gonna think that's normal. And I thought everybody got milk in bags until I grew up and figured out that they didn't. So yeah, we get milk in bags. But $71 for all of this stuff, which is like nothing. We literally came in here to go buy the Parmesan so we could go make an Alfredo for dinner. And we grabbed a couple other things, like not much. There's the cream for the Alfredo, and like I'm telling you, $70 for this? Nice.
And most of the stuff was on sale, as you can see.
Yeah, so good stuff. But the TJ's doing good. Like, we've been doing errands with it all day. We even grabbed some cat food. Like, I've got all kinds of groceries in here that we've been running all day long. See, we even went to PetSmart. But like, yeah, she's been doing good. So if it's gonna be sitting here and nobody's gonna be picking it up, I guess we're gonna be going for more off-roading trips with it. And just like that, we're back. And I always do this. I don't know why I do this, but I always forget the keys in there. But not today. E-brake, in gear. I think we're good on that point. Now it's time to collect all of our stuff. And if you're wondering why there's no grocery bags, well, those are illegal here. I wish I was joking. Yeah, so we're gonna collect all of our stuff, head back upstairs, and call it a day. But I think the consensus is we will be taking this thing off-road again. Because as much as I love taking this off-road, and I would love to switch over to this, until I finish the lift on this, which is gonna cost me still another probably like 8 grand, I gotta be driving this because, well, we're just gonna destroy it if we don't lift it. So we will be lifting it soon. I do have the shocks already. I've got $4,000 worth of Fox shocks for this thing. I just need to get the rest, all the arms, the springs, the track bars, the steering, bunch of things. But I guess we'll be sending the old bird here on the trails again. And yes, I know it needs a bath, but that's all right. She'll get a bath soon. Now, I gotta go and help Justine with the groceries, but I think that's pretty much gonna cover it, guys. Like, yeah, maintenance is done on this. You guys got an update on this. So, once again, I think that's gonna be the end of the video, guys. If you guys are new around here, please jump down there, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, give this video a share, because I've got tons more footage coming your way with both of these Jeeps, and hopefully you guys will be there with us. But thank you guys for sticking around, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, guys, ride safe out there. Peace.